Did you know that the AR-15 can fire 200 rounds per minute more than the AK-47? That's right. This American-made rifle outguns its Russian counterpart in rate of fire. But does that make it the better choice for survival situations? In today's video, we're diving deep into the AR-15 versus AK-47 debate, exploring how each performs in harsh environments. From sub-zero temperatures to humid jungles, we'll show you which rifle truly shines when the going gets tough. Arctic Showdown, Sub-Zero Reliability. As you walk through the wilds of Alaska, the temperature drops to -40 degrees Fahrenheit. Your rifle is what keeps you alive. Which one do you believe? When things are this bad, guns have to deal with special problems that can mean the difference between life and death. Being outside in the extreme cold makes it very hard to use a rifle. When lubricants freeze, they slow down or stop moving parts. Materials become more fragile, which raises the risk of catastrophic failures. When you wear thick gloves, even simple things like using the safety or charging handle are hard to do. When put together, these things make the environment hostile for guns, which tests their limits. The AR-15 and AK-47 are designed to deal with these problems in different ways. The precision engineering that went into making the AR-15 gives it great accuracy and comfort, but its tight tolerances and many small parts can break down in cold weather. On the other hand, the AK-47 is known for being very reliable because of its simpler design and less strict tolerances, which could give it an advantage in Arctic conditions. To fix these problems, both platforms can be changed to work better in cold weather. Synthetic lubricants that stay fluid at low temperatures are often chosen by AR-15 owners. Custom stocks made to be used while wearing gloves make handling easier in cold places. Heavy grease on the moving parts of the AK-47 and a thicker buffer can help it work better when it's cold outside. Field tests from military exercises in Arctic warfare give us useful information about how things work in the real world. Reports say that the AK-47 consistently has a lower failure rate than the AR-15 when it's below zero outside. The AK-47 is less likely to break down in cold weather because its mechanism is simpler and has fewer moving parts. This advantage in dependability is very important when you are trying to stay alive and there aren't many chances to do maintenance. A case study from military operations in the Arctic showed that soldiers liked the AK-47 because it didn't need to be fixed very often. When you're trying to stay alive, every round counts and resources are limited, so this dependability could be very helpful. It is important to remember, though, that both rifles can work in temperatures below zero if they are properly prepared and maintained. When it gets cold and your life is at stake, the AK-47 is a little more reliable than the AR-15 in the Arctic because it is simple and strong. Its ability to consistently cycle rounds in very cold conditions and its ease of maintenance make it a strong candidate for operations that take place below 0 degrees. But the AR-15's better accuracy and comfort shouldn't be overlooked, especially for people who know how to maintain guns in cold weather. You can test these famous guns in more places than just the cold north, though. As we move on to hot deserts, we'll see how well these rifles work in a completely different setting. Desert heat. When every round counts from ice to inferno, our rifles face a new crucible. In the unforgiving desert, where mirages dance on the horizon and heat warps metal, accuracy becomes a matter of life and death. But in this environment, is pinpoint precision truly the deciding factor? Desert warfare is different from other types of war in a number of ways. Extreme heat makes metal expand, which could affect the accuracy and integrity of the barrel. Sand getting into every part of a weapon turns it into a constant battle. Because of how rough this area is, being accurate at long range can mean the difference between life and death. Both the AR-15 and the AK-47 are good at dealing with these problems in different ways. When firing from farther away, the AR-15 is known for being very accurate. Reports say that it can effectively engage targets up to 600 yards away, thanks to its smaller caliber rounds moving faster. For example, this level of accuracy could be very useful in the vast deserts. On the other hand, the AK-47 brings its legendary dependability to the table. It's not as accurate as the AR-15, but it's great for fighting up to 300 yards away. The 7.62x39 mm round in the AK-47 has more stopping power, which could be helpful in sudden, close-quarters fights. Its effectiveness, on the other hand, drops sharply outside of this range, especially when it's hot. Both platforms are affected by long-term exposure to desert heat. When ammunition cooks off, it becomes a very serious problem that could make a gun dangerous to use. The AR-15 might be more likely to have problems with heat because its tolerances are tighter, while the AK-47 might be less likely to have these problems because its design is less rigid. Another big problem is sand getting into the water. The AR-15 can be changed in a lot of ways, but it needs to be cleaned and serviced more often to keep it from breaking down because of sand and dust buildup. The AK-47 may be better in this area of desert operations because it is easier to strip and clean in the field. These differences show up in very important ways in real-life desert battles. Because the AR-15 is so accurate, it can be used at longer ranges without losing its accuracy, which could keep the operator out of harm's way. But the fact that it needs to be serviced more often could be a problem in long-term operations. The AK-47 has a short range, but it works well in close combat and doesn't need as much maintenance to keep working in sandy conditions. In the end, the choice between the AR-15 and the AK-47 for desert operations comes down to the needs of the mission and the operator's skill level with maintaining their weapon. For long-range battles, the AR-15 is the best choice because it stays more accurate in hot desert conditions. However, the AK-47's dependability in tough situations shouldn't be overlooked, especially in close combat or long operations with few chances for maintenance. We're now going to talk about another harsh environment, this time one that isn't the desert. The jungle, with its hot weather and thick vegetation, gives these famous rifles a whole new set of problems to solve. Jungle warfare. Battling the elements. The jungle doesn't care about how well known or respected your rifle is. One thing is important here. Will it fire when you need it most? Let's dive into this green hell and see how the AR-15 and AK-47 do when they are pushed to their limits. When guns are used in jungle warfare, they face a unique set of problems. Constant wetness and humidity speed up corrosion, and tangled plants and mud can jam even the most reliable weapons. In this situation, quickly identifying targets is very important because fights often happen close up with little warning. The AR-15 and AK-47 are designed to deal with these problems in different ways. The AK-47 has a reputation for being very reliable. This is because it is simple to build and has wide tolerances. Because of these features, it can work even when it's exposed to mud and other debris, which are common in jungles. The AR-15, on the other hand, has better ergonomics and adaptability, which could make it easier to hit targets in thick vegetation. Long-term exposure to mud and high humidity shows that these platforms are very different. The AK-47 is better at resisting corrosion because it is made of simpler parts and designs. This benefit is very important for operations that last a long time in the jungle, where maintenance may not be able to be done very often. The AR-15 is more likely to rust, but it can be improved by adding coatings that resist rust and special lubricants that work better in wet conditions. The AK-47 is more likely to last longer and need less maintenance in tropical climates, according to data. Reports from the Vietnam War say that soldiers often liked the AK-47 because it worked well and didn't need much maintenance. The AR-15, on the other hand, needs to be cleaned more often in places with a lot of humidity to keep it from breaking down. This extra maintenance work can have a big effect on a soldier or survivalist during long operations in the jungle. In jungle warfare, how easy something is to clean becomes very important. The AK-47's design makes it easy to strip and clean it quickly in the field, even when conditions are bad. The more complicated mechanism of the AR-15 can be harder to maintain in wet, muddy places, even though it has some benefits. How well does the AK-47's reputation for dependability hold up in the humid jungle? There is evidence to suggest that it does. Its ability to keep working with little upkeep gives it a big advantage in long-term operations in the jungle. But you shouldn't forget about how versatile the AR-15 is. It can work very well in tropical environments if the right changes are made and upkeep is done. As our environmental tests come to an end, it's clear that each rifle has its own pros and cons when it comes to harsh conditions. The story doesn't end here, though. We need to look at how these famous guns can be changed to fit different needs in order to fully understand them. Let's look into the world of customization and how it can help us stay alive. Customization. Tailoring tools for survival. The AR-15 has a lot of aftermarket support, which lets you customize it in ways that have never been done before. Users can change almost every part, from the barrels and internal parts to the optics and stocks. This makes it possible for shooters to customize their rifles for different missions and environments, which could improve performance in a wide range of situations. But the rugged simplicity of the AK-47 makes a strong counter-argument. Because it is simple and has few moving parts, it is reliable in harsh conditions. Because of this, it brings up an important question. Is more customization always better? This is especially true in survival situations where ease of use and dependability are very important. Optics, stocks, barrels, and other accessories are some of the most important parts of the AR-15 that can be changed. When shooting at long range or in low light, good optics can make a big difference in how accurate you are and how quickly you can hit your target. Adjustable stocks are better for ergonomics and make it easier to handle things in a variety of settings. Changes to the barrel can affect how well the rifle shoots, which could increase its useful range or make it easier to move around in tight spaces. These customization options do, however, come with some costs. The base weight of an AR-15 is usually between 7.5 and 8.5 pounds, but adding extras can make it much heavier. In survival situations, where every ounce counts, an AR-15 that has been heavily customized may make it harder to move and last longer. Having a lot of accessories makes things more complicated and adds potential failure points that could make them less reliable in harsh conditions. Even though the AK-47 can't be changed as much, it is still known for being very reliable in a wide range of situations. Its simpler design means it needs less upkeep and adjustments, which is a big plus in survival situations where you can't be sure what will happen. This dependability is especially helpful in harsh environments where things can change quickly and there aren't many chances to do maintenance. In the end, the usefulness of customization depends on the user's skills and the specific survival situation. Because the AR-15 is so flexible, it can be precisely adjusted to known environments and mission requirements. When things go wrong, though, the AK-47's inherent dependability and ease of use may be more useful. After thinking about these things, it's clear that there isn't a single best survival rifle for everyone. Whether you choose customization or simplicity depends on your needs, the circumstances, and your level of skill. Now that we know this, let's talk about the most important question for any survivor. Which rifle is best for your skills and needs? After looking at how well the AR-15 and AK-47 work in harsh conditions, it's clear that each gun has its own pros and cons. The AR-15 can be changed to fit different situations because it is customizable, while the AK-47 is very reliable in bad conditions. In the end, the best choice for you will depend on your training and the circumstances you face. When choosing between these platforms, you should think about your environment, the needs of your mission, and your own skills. In times of survival, the right tool for the job can make all the difference, a veteran once told me. This advice is perfect for choosing a rifle. Think carefully about what you need. Will you be in the Arctic, the desert, or the jungle? Do you need accuracy at a distance or reliability up close? Remember that knowledge is the most valuable thing you have in a survival situation. Pick a good rifle, but more importantly, train a lot with the platform you choose. Knowing how to use your gun well is just as important as knowing how it works technically. If you stay informed and ready, you'll be able to handle any problems that come your way.